So this is an actual SOC report. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
this is the one that probably I have from my previous clients or something. So this is whatever you see here. It's pretty much what we use in the industry. A SOC 1 or SOC 2 report. If you remember, there were four sections in it. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
five sections. We discussed about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just show you how exactly each section looks like. What are the different? Because a report, a SOC 2 report is generally of 120, 130 pages. A SOC 1 reports is around 80, 90 pages. And this I'm talking about the Word doc page numbering. So see the table of contents. What can you see? Section 1, 2, 3, and 5, 4, 4, 5, right?
Yes.
Section 1
Yes.
was for service auditors. So independent service auditors report, if you remember, we discussed where the auditor would tell that, yeah, what we have done, what's the opinion, what's the summary and all.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
Yes.
Yeah. Section 2 is for management assertion, which is where the management, which is myself, I will declare that whatever data I provided is best to my knowledge. I haven't hidden anything or something like that, any information. I have been transparent with my processes, etc. Section
Mm-hmm.
3, description of system, where I give my description of system, right? I mentioned the processes, the different frameworks that I have, the different environments that I have about my company, about my product, about my services, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the concept of CUECs? I also
Yes,
gave
I
you
do.
one more homework kind of where I asked you to uh, tell me. Actually, I gave you two. So I asked you to give me an example of a few complementary user entity controls with
Mm-hmm.
explanation, and the other
Mm-hmm.
would be one compensating control example. So
Mm-hmm.
something to think for you. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then section 4 is the testing matrices, which is where we look at what the testing, how the testing was performed by the auditor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the management response. So basically, if you remember, any finding that is there in section 4, for that we need to provide a management response, and that we provide in section 5.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the section 1. Okay. I'll
Mm-hmm.
zoom this.
Have you ever worked at Shaman?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But look at this. So here, this is the auditor's report. They mentioned that we have examined XYZ description for logging monitoring. They mentioned the period here. Can you see the period? I
Yes, I
have,
can.
yeah, I have uh, hidden the confidential information, but
Mm-hmm.
you will be able to make an understanding. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this is basically where we explain what is everything. If you look at sub-service organizations, do you remember what
Mm-hmm.
are sub-service organizations?
Yes, a third party organization.
Right. So various sub-service organizations for cloud hosting, identity management, etc. And then service organizations responsibilities. So who is the
Mm.
service organization?
Shaman.
No, Shelman is the service auditor. Service
Mm.
organization is the organization which is providing its service, product, etc. So in this case, my case, it would be Cisco.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then the last para, service auditor's responsibility. Our responsibility is to express an opinion on the fairness of presentation. So you get that, right? This is how
Yes.
a real report looks like, a real SOC
Mm-hmm.
report. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Moving ahead, this is section 2. So again, If you see here, we describe our if you see this para, we confirm the best to our knowledge that the description fairly presents system made available, presents how the system made available to user entities, the
Mm,
procedures within both automated manual by which services are provided, including procedures or other information prepared for user. So here, this is you
mm,
confirming, in this case, Cisco confirming that, hey, whatever data, whatever our systems that you have audited, we can confirm to best of our knowledge that it is working fine and as intended.
yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Moving ahead. So section 3, description of the system. Whose system?
Cisco system.
Yeah, right. So whoever this SOC report is for, that that person's or that company's system. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, I've just taken one example. So look at the complementary user entity controls. Can you read
Mm.
it? Complementary controls. Who is my user entity?
Cisco.
Huh, you just keep on naming Cisco. Just think about it. User entity. Who would be my user? The name is quite self-explanatory. User entities of this report, user entity of my services. Do you remember you mentioning of,
Apple.
yeah, right. So
Okay.
now think in that term. Service
Okay.
organization, user entity, sub-service organization, etc. Think in those terms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you see, uh, just read this paragraph and tell me what you understand.
Okay. Complementary controls are the controls that are supposed to be there.
So you remember we discussed that whatever controls I have, that is good enough, but there are certain controls that I want my clients to also have, my customers to also have at
Oh,
their end,
yes, yes, yes. Yes.
right? Because
Mm,
how would I know that Vanessa left Apple? I won't, right? I'm not
mm,
going to block Vanessa's access because she left Apple. I'm Cisco. How would I know that who is leaving or coming in in Apple? Correct.
mm-hmm,
So in
mm,
that case, who needs to inform me? Apple, right?
yes.
Yeah. So these controls, user, who is my user entity?
Apple.
Then which, I mean, these controls are applicable to which company?
Apple.
Yeah. Now just read a few controls. Read
Mm.
read this one.
Okay, I see.
What do you understand from this one? The first control.
So basically, Apple is responsible for developing their own business continuity plan to address
Right,
their inability to access or
right.
utilize Cisco. Okay.
Correct, correct. So we have our own continuity plans, business continuity plans. Cisco has its own. We have mentioned that in the report as well. But
Mm,
it would be great if you also have one so that in conjunction we are making sure that our product is always available.
mm.
Make sense?
Yes, 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 that makes sense.
Okay. Read one more. Uh, yeah, read this one. 06.
User entities are responsible for the establishment and termination of user accounts with Cisco.
Yeah. What do you understood?
So Apple is responsible for its own termination of user accounts after users have left, but then
Makes
Cisco.
make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So now you understood what complementary user entity controls are.
Mm-hmm.
So next time I'll ask you, I need an answer. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I'll move ahead because I think I I have given enough time for CUECs in our last session. I
Yeah.
would suggest just go through it once more if you need more
Mm,
clarity. But now that you have seen the report, you read a few controls,
mm,
just try to relate uh, the last session to this one. I think
mm-hmm.
you'll have your answers. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Coming to sub-service uh, organizations. So if you see here, who is my sub-service organization?
AWS.
Yeah, AWS in this case, but in our example, it was Azure. But yeah, still
Yes.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
So, since my data, where is my data hosted? In Azure, for example, right? So now just read this particular first one, replace AWS with Azure, and just tell
Mm-hmm.
me what you understood.
So Azure is responsible for ensuring that its own facilities are equipped with environmental security guards and utilizing an environmental monitoring application for environmental events. Um,
Yeah, what do you understand from this?
this is what is expected for Azure to have.
Why?
So that the other businesses' data can be successfully stored there.
Yeah, right. But in more simpler words, since I'm hosting my data on Azure, right?
Mm,
So Azure's data center facility, it has to be safeguarded, right?
mm,
I cannot do that. Whose
mm.
responsibility is this? Azure's,
Yes.
correct? So
Mm-hmm.
that's why we have included this as a complementary control at sub-service organization.
Yes.
Understood? Because
Yes.
my data is hosted there and I cannot possibly have access to the data centers. So that's where I'm defining a control for my sub-service organizations that, hey, you need to look after the security of your data centers as well because my data is hosted there. I'm paying you for what, right?
Mm. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, just revisit sub-service organization section as well from last session and try reading these controls. I think you'll be able to make an understanding of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of revisiting that's needed.
Yeah. I thought that since we didn't had a class last 2 days, probably you would have gone through most of them, but just do it
No, I
once
really
again.
did, but I think it needs to be done again.
Yeah, what I would suggest is make notes. Don't just listen to it because
Mm.
uh, when you make notes, you'll grasp more, things will stay in your head for longer time. So that's what I would suggest. Make notes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving ahead, section 4 is the testing
Mm.
matrices. If you remember, I mentioned that here the auditor mentions the control, what test steps they follow, and what's the conclusion of the testing. So that's what section 4 is all about. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'll move ahead. So just read here the tests apply to test the operating effectiveness, TOE. Remember this word, test of operating effectiveness
Mm-hmm.
of controls are listed alongside each of the respective control activities within the testing matrices. Okay.
Mm.
Shellman consider various factors including the nature of the control frequency, control risk mitigated by control, effectiveness of entity level controls, especially controls that monitor other controls, the degree to which control relies on effectiveness of other controls, and whether the control is manually performed or automated. Their approach, they have done this basis inquiry, inquired of relevant personnel with requisite knowledge and experience regarding the performance and application of related control activity. This included in-person interviews, telephone calls, emails, web-based conferences, or a combination of preceding. You remember in my first session, We talked a lot about different audit methodologies and how we do it. So interviews were part of that, telephone calls,
Yes.
etc.
Mm-hmm.
And I did cover inquiry, observation, inspection as well. So that's how we map everything. Okay. From my first
Mm.
session, I'm mapping my third session. Uh, Observation. So observe the relevant processes or procedures during testing. This included, but was not limited to, witnessing the performance of controls or evidence of controls, control performance with relevant personnel. Okay. So there they observed the process. And then inspection of relevant evidentiary matter records. This included, not limited to, documents, system configuration, settings, or the existing of sampling attributes such as signatures, approvals, logged events, etc. So that's where they inspected the evidence that we provided to them. Make sense?
Yes.
You understood what this section is telling, right? In section 4, where they will mention what test, what control they perform, this is just a disclaimer that they are giving.
Mm-hmm.
Understood? Are we good on this one?
Yes, I get it. I'll just go over it again, but yes.
Yeah. Now coming, for example, just look at, this is an exact control in my company, let's say in my previous company, and this is exactly what they did. So if you look here, this is the business continuity and disaster recovery control objective. Control activities provide reasonable assurance that policies and procedures are in place to minimize disruption of services to user entities in the event of a business interruption or natural disaster. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now look at the control. Infrastructure capacity is evaluated continuously and changes are implemented to help ensure capacity can meet demand. Today, you are a small company. Today, Vanessa has 100 clients, 100 customers. Tomorrow, you become big. You have 1 lakh customers coming every day, 100,000. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to scale, right? You need to make sure that your infra is designed in such a way that it can be scaled, capacity can meet demand, right? Now just read out what, see this column. What is this?
Test applied by service auditor.
Who is the service auditor?
Who it is?
Who is the service auditor in our example?
Cis Cisco.
No, absolutely wrong. Whenever you hear the word auditor, it's the auditor who is auditing me. In my case, it's Shellman or
Oh,
KPMG or Deloitte. You need to get this concept
mm.
right.
I think
Okay,
I keep
read
mixing
it.
them up.
Yeah, right. So write them down. Try to understand the crux of it, because I know you'll mix it up in during some interview. And believe me, if you are not able to convince the interviewer that you understand service organization, auditor, user entity, etc., you won't be selected. So that's
Mm.
just me being frank with you, but I need you to improve on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So now just read what testing they performed. But you understood the control, right? This is the
Yes.
control.
Yeah.
Control activity specified by Cisco. Okay, so this
Mm-hmm.
is the control activity that I have specified, saying that, hey, we are doing this. Okay, now the auditor is validating what they are doing. I just read through it.
Okay, so in order to test, they inspected the capacity scaling documentation to
Hmm.
determine that infrastructure capability was evaluated continuously and changes were implemented to ensure capacity can meet demand.
Right. So looks like they did something, right? They performed the
Yeah.
test. And then the test result, no exception noted. If
When they
there
say
would have,
exception, is it like anything that is bad or like,
yeah, it's bad.
okay.
Yeah. So for this control, no exception noted. Let's say if there would have been exception, they would have mentioned exception noted, and then
Mm,
they would have in the next line mentioned the exception, that maybe the document was not updated, maybe the changes were not implemented on time,
mm.
etc., etc. Okay. a few more controls to look at. This is the control, okay? This section is for control activity, which means the exact control that I have in my organization. Okay,
Mm,
read this one. Read this entire row
okay.
5.01.
So
Tell me
control.
what is it. Yeah, tell me what the
So
control is, what the auditor did.
inspected and completed background check documentation for a sample of employees hired during the period to determine that each employee sampled passed a background screening check consistent with applicable law as a condition of their employment. Yeah,
Summarize this for me. Yeah,
so the new hires were expected to pass a background check. The service auditor tested the employee's background to see if they're applicable and
they
consistent with the
selected
law.
did they select all employees or
No, the selected sample. Yeah,
okay, and no exceptions noted. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Wait, does
I'll,
that say Splunk?
yeah,
Okay,
it's gibberish, but yeah.
okay,
Uh, moving ahead, coming to section 5.
okay.
Okay. Now, I told you that section 5 is where if there are any findings, we respond to those findings in section 5. Okay. Now just read
Mm,
this entire thing. First, you tell me what the control is, what test was performed, and what was the exception.
okay. They revoked access that is no longer required after the employee was terminated.
Okay. And our policy says that we do it in 24 hours. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Now, what did the auditor do?
So he tested the sample of the employees that were terminated to determine if the logical access was no longer required in the event of termination was revoked for
Correct.
each employee.
Now read the test results and tell me what is it saying.
So in one of the 25 sampled employee, one of them's access was not timely revoked.
What is the time?
24 hours. So it was not
Yeah,
revoked within 24 hours.
right. So it's an exception, right?
Okay.
For one, even for one, if it is not revoked on time, it's an exception for the auditor.
Okay.
Correct. Now read the
Uh,
management response.
Splunk Cisco requires the revocation of logical access for terminated employees within 24 hours of their end date. During 2025 audit, one employee's access was not terminated within a timely manner. The root cause of the finding was due to a delayed notification to HR from the employee's manager. A subsequent investigation confirmed that no suspicious or malicious activity occurred after the employee's termination date.
Make sense?
Yes.
Now you understood what exactly we are doing when we are testing a control. So first we define and implement a control. Then we auditor comes and test the control. It tells me that whether it is working fine or not. If it is not working fine, we give them a justification of what has happened and what our investigation revealed. How are we going to fix that?
Mm.
Make sense?
Yes.
Any questions on this?
No.
Okay, moving ahead. So now this is pretty much basic. I mean, again, just one example where um, I have mentioned a control, what test was performed, and then again, no exceptions noted. So this is just for your understanding to give you a few more examples. Uh, See again, for one more control, the company maintains a code of conduct which describes employee responsibilities and expected behavior regarding data and information system usage. Employees must acknowledge that they have read and agree to the code of conduct as part of their onboarding process. So whenever you'll join any company, you'll have to give this confirmation on the code of conduct that Vanessa would be conducting as per the code defined in the company. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
See the result. Test of activity disclosed that code of business conduct was not acknowledged upon hire by 9 of 25 employees hired during the period. Very high number, right?
Mm.
So 9 out of 25 did not give their confirmation on the code of conduct. Now for this, I haven't included that, but there would be a management response that is required. Okay. Your homework is to tell me what management response would you prepare for this particular finding.
Wait, hold
Code of
on.
business, code of business conduct.
So what management response I would provide for the code of business conduct?
For 9 employees who haven't performed that.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, this covers 3 modules in entirety.
Mm.
Yeah. Uh, we have looked at the basics of GRC cybersecurity. Then module 2 was for risk management. Why are we implementing a control? That's why, right? We are minimizing
Mm.
the risk methodologies, risk analysis, risk treatment processes, etc., etc. And now we have covered 2 frameworks as well, which is SOC 1, SOC 2. From module 4, I'm going to start with SAP. But before that, I want you to get really familiarized with these 3 modules because
Yeah.
everything what we are going to discuss next would be on top of this and a bit complicated and bit technical.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.